Alright guys, so we are back with another review. I'm actually going to be busy this weekend coming up, so I am trying to get a lot of videos out the way before this weekend comes up. And that means that I have a lot of videos in the bank that I've been meaning to do, that I've been trying to do, that I've just been putting off. And this is one of them. And I've been wanting to do a review on Inside for quite a while because the game was just so spectacular. It had me asking a lot of questions. A lot of weird things happened in this game. But first and foremost, what is Inside? Inside is a game created by the same developers of Limbo, and they're known as Play Dead. And Inside is a 3D side-scrolling game that challenges the player with puzzles and enemies that consistently block your path to your end goal. It is a mostly silent game with sci-fi horror overtones that are never explicitly explained to the player. Much like Limbo in the sense where there is a lack of color, everything is sort of in a grayscale with little splashes of color indicating, a certain solution to a puzzle or things that you can interact with. There's really not very much in terms of interacting with the game. The only thing that you can do is run, interact with certain objects, and hide and use certain objects to your advantage. But this really adds a lot to the game, and we're going to get into it right now. Before we get into it, I just want to warn you guys that there are severe spoilers ahead. So if you have not played the game at all, if you want to experience it for yourself without, spoiling anything for yourself, please go play the game for yourself. Or if subsequently you just want to know what the game is about, watch the playlist. I did a whole walkthrough on the game. Watch the playlist entirely, all 5 videos, and then come watch this video because I'm going to be talking about very specific things that happen throughout my playthrough and throughout the game that you might not be too aware of. I 100% advise you to go watch them or to just play the game for yourself before continuing on with watching this. So let's get into it, guys. So, much like in the last episode, we're going to do pros and cons, right? So we're going to start out with the pros because everybody likes good news first, right? So, pros. The visuals. I cannot stress this enough. This game is stunning. It's stunning. It's like it has such an incredible artistic feel from... It's just... I can't even describe it. Even though there's not much color, there's not much that happens, within the game in terms of dialogue and things like that. The visuals are just so amazing. And because the game has this sci-fi sort of overtone, the grayscale adds to this sort of eerie feeling, this feeling of something's happening of the unknown that you don't know about. The background environment in the game is 100% dynamic, meaning that things will pop out, things will interact with you that you have to pay attention to in the background. If you don't pay attention to it, you will die. Point blank simple. The game indicates to the player what needs to be done with splashes of color, So there's yellow, there's splashes of colors, yellow for the Steam platforms that raise you up. Red for interactions for the player to grapple onto something to avoid death. Things of that nature that you need to pay attention to within the environment. And they're very subtle, and if you don't pay attention to them, bad things will happen. Also, the use of lighting in this game is incredible. The game is extremely dark, very dark, but lighting splashes through at the most significant times. It's just the way they use it, it's almost like telling the player, okay, well, this is what you have to do, this is where you have to go. They use it almost as a game mechanic, and I really like that about the game, and it made me feel safe at certain parts. But on the other end of the spectrum, you don't really know if the lighting is used as a game mechanic to either warn you or tell you what to do. And we're going to get into that very, very later in the game, which ties into the end of the story. The music and sound design of this game is also top-notch, spectacular stuff. Stingers and musical cues give the player certain information as to progress within the game. As an example, I'm not going to be able to make it.
Falcon Punch!
Oh! Bro! Okay, that didn't happen before. Wow. So, if you noticed, when I had stopped the platform and I tried to progress, nothing happened. I just died, right? So in order to tell the player that you're doing the right thing, as soon as I moved and I jumped on the ladder and used that moving platform to my advantage to get through that little puzzle, the musical cue changed and it let me know that I was doing something correct. A very subtle way of telling a player that you're doing something right. And that whole sequence between that platform and getting to the end was just, it was such a great build-up, and the music added to that. It made you feel like something bigger was happening within that little environment. And you didn't know exactly what was happening, but it made getting through that puzzle very rewarding, and it also kind of added this weird emotional feeling to getting past that puzzle. What? Yo, my skin is crawling. What is happening? The music is just getting intense right now. It's making me feel emotions. You kind of felt like there was a sense of something bigger, something stranger going on within this, I guess, facility that you were kind of, you know, what's the right word? Infiltrating. There you go. Infiltrating. So, as I said before, the sound design is perfect for the game, and it adds an extra feeling of just oddness. Silence in the game is used for the most part, which gives the game an extra feeling of loneliness. So, you're this one player, you're this kid, and you're trying to get somewhere, you don't know exactly where. You know, the use of silence in the game really lets the environmental factor shine. It gives the player this sort of, you need to focus, okay? Like, I don't know if you guys are horror buffs or if you guys love horror, but some of my most favorite horror movies are those that use very little musical stingers or very little jump scares to scare the audience. And one of the sequences that I love is a sequence in Insidious. I can't play it here, otherwise I'd get copyrighted. But there's a sequence in Insidious where there's literally, I think it's Insidious or Insidious 2, where there's literally no sound. And you start to see like supernatural things happening in the background. And you as the audience, you see it, but the character or the person that's playing the woman, she doesn't see it, and you're just like, oh shit. That's the kind of feeling that you get when you play this game. It's like, it really forces you to focus on what's being portrayed to you in the game. And it's really just a beautiful mechanic. It's something that I've never truly experienced in a game like this. It is really, really interesting getting into it. And one of the uses of silence that I really enjoyed in the game is there's a section in the game where you walk through and all of a sudden it just gets deafeningly silent. You're still watching. What in the fuck is going on? Why is there no sound? This is deafening. Oh my god, what is happening? That was maddeningly fucking deafening. It's just quiet. And you don't know why. And there's water at the top and there's like a little puzzle. And it, like at that point in time, I started to kind of whisper and I didn't know why, but it was just so, like the silence was so loud that it was just like, all I had was like my thoughts and trying to piece together this puzzle. And I was focused, and it just really added this weird type of immersion into the game. It was great. It was amazing. So moving on to another pro is the story. So the story is never, in fact, it's never fully explained to the player. You know, there's no dialogue from the main character or any other character in the game for that matter. This mechanic allows the player to figure out what is happening for themselves and lends itself to the story being a puzzle within itself. From the visuals and the playthrough, you get an idea that there's some kind of experimental science going on. You don't really know what's happening. The motives of the main characters still remain somewhat of a mystery, you know, like you don't really know. So there's no dialogue at all. There's nothing coming from the character. Nothing is explained to you. You don't know why you're playing this game. You don't know who this character is. You don't even know the name of this character, but you're going on this journey and nothing is being explained to you. And I love that aspect of this game because it lends itself to so much imagination. You have to piece together the story for yourself. And I don't know if any other gamers like that kind of concept, but it really allows you to piece together the story, and it's like putting together a puzzle, you know? While as, you know, you're playing the game and you're solving these puzzles to get to the end result. The story within itself, as you progress through the game and as you like think about it, it's that the story itself is a puzzle, you know, that you have to piece together. And that's beautiful. It's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful way of approaching a story. You're kind of left wondering what the hell's going on, what is happening, what is this kid, you know, why is he doing this? And you could psychoanalyze this game for hours on end and never really come out with a true definition of what this game is or what the story is, because it's open for interpretation, and that's the beauty of it. So the fact that there is absolutely no dialogue in the game lends itself to this feeling of isolation, like you're the only thing, you're the only character in the game that knows what's going on, what's happening, because you're playing through it. It kind of feels like, because every single other NPC, other than the NPCs with the guns and the people that are creating these zombies, you're the only other person that's kind of like self-conscious and moving as if, you know, he has a brain within the game. And it kind of feels like you as that character, you're supposed to be part of those zombified people. And for some reason, you kind of escape that and you're trying to set them free. At least from my perspective on the first playthrough. The story gets a lot more convoluted once you get to the end. A lot more convoluted. And it was such the end result, the end of the game, where you're this giant potato blob thing and you kind of, you know, you get paralyzed by this light. What? I can't do anything. So that's the end? So we just wanted to just chill on a beach, on the water. That's all we wanted. And you don't really understand what's going on. Like, that part of the story really, it reminded me so much of really old anime. And old anime such as Akira. Akira does this. Akira is a very convoluted story. It starts out on a very, linear path. You understand what's happening. There's biker gangs, and then there's like this science, government shit going on, and Tetsuo gets abducted, and then once Tetsuo gets abducted and he goes into this government facility, the story just ends up being so fucking weird. And by the end, you're just kind of just looking at the movie wondering what the fuck is happening. Really, like, you kind of just don't know what's happening anymore. Tetsuo's this giant blob thing, and he's being consumed by something, and fucking Kaneda is just shooting shit, just trying to survive. And it ends, and it just ends, and you're just like, what the fuck? That's kind of how this game is. It's literally how the story is. It's like, it starts out on a linear path, it makes sense, and then by the end, you're just like, what? It's kind of how it feels. So, the artistic direction of this game is it's an artistic masterpiece. It really is. Everything from the color scheme to the sound design, to the lack of dialogue, to the ways in which the background environment interacts with the player. Every aspect of this game puts you in it. There was not one single moment of this game where I didn't feel invested. Okay? I felt like I was that little boy with the red shirt the entire playthrough. Like, I felt so steeped in mystery throughout the entire playthrough. I felt so steeped in, and compelled to find out what the fuck was going on. It was just, the idea of the unknown really made me invested in this game. It really just put me in it. And it was just, it's an experience. It really is. It's an experience. It's a masterpiece. And I can't stress that enough. I must have said that this game is amazing like 20,000 times throughout my playthrough. What the what? This game is amazing. This game is fucking spectacular. Oh! If that thing hits me, I'm going to die. This game is fucking amazing. This is probably the most ingenious game that I've ever played. Yup, that's what I need. This game is fucking amazing. I don't know how many different ways I need to say this shit, but it's fucking amazing. I really must have said that like so many times because I was just caught by all of the aspects of this game. It was just magnificent. And now not every game is perfect. Not every game is perfect. I've said this in the past with my Doom review. But this game is. This game is fucking close to perfect. Well, it's maybe not perfect, but it comes extremely fucking close. Very fucking close to being perfect. I honestly, in my, my right state of mind, I honestly don't have a single bad thing to say about this game. I don't have a single bad thing to say about this game. But one thing that I know would be kind of like, a stick for somebody is the story. The story is, it's strange, it's weird, it's convoluted, it's odd. There's no dialogue, you don't know what the fuck is going on, and by the end result, you see this potato blob, and then it just ends. I like that because I'm a sci-fi horror buff. I watch a lot of sci-fi movies. I love those kind of like up for interpretation, vague endings to games because it leaves so much more to experience. It leaves the player asking questions. It leaves the player like wondering what the fuck is actually happening, even though it's not 100% explained to you. I love that. But I know a lot of people need this sort of story spelled out to them. And I know that that's maybe a con that a lot of people would be like, oh, how could you give this game such a high rating? It's got all these fucking problems and blah, blah, blah. To me, no, it doesn't. It's perfect. It's a perfect fucking game. I also understand that the ending that I experienced is not the actual true ending. And spoilers ahead, I'm going to show you the true ending. I didn't actually do this ending on my own.
Boo this man!
But I'm going to show you the true ending. I wanted to get to the true ending myself, but there was a lot of things going on. I was trying to do a lot of videos. I was trying to, do a lot of things, and work happened, and, I couldn't find the time to actually get this, but here it is. Take a look. If you acquired all the small spheres, and pulled out the cylinder from the spheres, and you go through a little puzzle at the end of the game, you got that ending. And that ending doesn't really answer anything. It doesn't really answer anything. It's even more convoluted than the actual original ending that you get by playing through the full game. But for me, it was as if the player, right, you as the player, you're not gonna beat the game. And hear me out, okay? This is what I think the ending is. Hear me out. You won't beat Inside unless you don't play it. And that's the point. So unplugging that thing at the end means that you don't experience any of it. Which means that, so the game, in my mind, is a loop, right? And if you paid attention very closely, when you become the blob, there's a moment in time where you fall through the elevator. And as you fall through the elevator, you see in the background there's a diorama of the end. Literally, it's a frame-by-frame shot of the end of the game. And you go through it and you get to the woods, and then you end up getting blinded by this light, and that's it. So the way I see it and the way I psychoanalyze it is that you're doomed to repeat this sort of cycle of playing the game over and over and over and over again and obtaining the same results unless you just don't play it. And that's fucking beautiful. It's almost like, it's kind of like a Matrix thing, like you're plugged into this game, you play through it, and the best way to beat it is to just not play it and to just go out and live your life. And it's really, really fucking amazing. It's such a weird kind of, I guess, satire on gamers themselves and video gamers and people who spend hours and hours on end playing video games to the end, getting all the secrets, to just be like, it's kind of like a fuck you, like, why are you playing this? Like, go do something else. And I thought that is really, that's beautiful. It really is. It's a beautiful end result. Another con that I personally have are the fucking dogs. Okay? The fucking dogs. Okay, look. I don't hate dogs. I actually love dogs. I've had several dogs in my life that are very close to my heart, to my family. I'm even thinking about getting tattoos of them. Most of which have, passed, and I'm very sad about them. I'm still sad to this day. But regardless, An experience happened to me at a very young age, and it left me scarred. That is one of my fears, is getting chased by dogs. When I was a kid in Puerto Rico, okay, this is a true story, all right? A completely 100% true story. My brother and I in Puerto Rico, I lived in Puerto Rico for 10 years, okay? My brother and I were out riding bike.
Riding a bike?
Yes, riding bike. We were riding bike.
We were riding our bikes.
We were riding our bikes, since Miss Grammar check over here.
I mean, you sound like that video game yesterday, Charlie.
Anyways, my brother and I, we were out riding our bikes, and where we lived, it was like a T-shaped cul-de-sac, right? So, we would just go out and ride our bike. And, whatchamacallit. So, Puerto Rico has a really, really bad problem with stray dogs. Like, the stray dogs in Puerto Rico they're no joke. If you see a pack of stray dogs in Puerto Rico, if you're ever in Puerto Rico, steer clear away from them, because chances are there's a lot of them. And they have been known to, like, really, really hurt people, especially tourists. So anyways, we were out riding our bike one day, and we come across this house, and this house had these 2 stray dogs in it, and we didn't realize. So all of a sudden, right, we're riding, and I just hear my brother in the back go, "Daniel," and I'm like, "What?" And I turn, right, I turn to, like, turn my bike to go towards where he was calling me, and then when I looked in the opposite direction, I see the 2 dogs stand up. Okay, they stand up, and I just immediately in my mind, at this point in time, I was too young to know anything about curses or anything like that, but immediately in my mind, I was like, "Oh shit," right? And I hear them growling. And then the next thing I hear is my brother say, "Go, go, go." So we just start riding our bikes. We're fucking booking it. And I can hear these fuckers behind me, chasing me. Like, they're literally on my ankles. And they came so close to knocking me off my bike. Like, it would have been a wrap. And it was so funny because at one point in time, like, the road that we were on goes straight. And there was another road that went right. So my brother goes, "Follow me," and he cuts right, and I just kept going straight, and both of the dogs chased me, and they were huge fucking dogs. So when I tell you that that's legitimately one of my fears, is getting chased by dogs, I'm telling the truth 100%. Like, I don't like that shit. And that experience was kind of amplified in this game because, whew, boy, getting chased by those dogs, I felt like fear in my body, like inside of my chest and I say this is a con, but it's not really a con because it really made me feel something. It threw me back in time so far and made me feel this primal fear that was just, I was scared during those times. And again, as I say, these are cons. That's not really a con. But it was just great to experience it regardless, even though I was scared shitless. So, all in all, Inside is an incredible game. It's challenging. It doesn't handhold you. It makes you think in more ways than one. From the puzzles in the game, to the story, to analyzing what the actual purpose of the game is. There's nothing like this game out there. Nothing. Playdead continues to deliver incredible games. I've played Limbo as well, and it was just as weird. Really complex, really strange game, and I loved every single moment of it. And this game, for me, it gets a solid 10 out of 10. It has to, because it's a phenomenal game. And if you don't believe me, go play it for yourself. I assure you, if you like 3D puzzlers, if you like 2D platformers, if you like puzzle games, if you like horror, if you like sci-fi, if you like any of those genres, you will enjoy every single moment of this game, because this game has it in spades. I promise you that. And with that being said, that's my review on Inside from Playdead. I hope you enjoy, and I highly recommend this game. Please go play it. And as always, my friends, peace, and much love. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked what you see, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Any engagement helps. And as always, my friends, peace, and much love. I'll catch you on the next one.